back in the day, there was a higher baseline skepticism of the internet, of information on the internet, people on the internet. There was also a larger code for privacy. Before it became the in thing to share your face and your real name online, anonymity was the way of the internet. And I think that needs to be brought back, not just because of an impending surveillance state and the downstream consequences of living in that kind of society, the impact it may have on freedom as a whole, but rather um, we are too connected today. I don't think the extent to which we are always on is healthy. I'm not saying that, you know, everybody who's on the computer all day is in a bad situation. You know, um, if they're engaging in inoffensive things, if they're very skeptical of the information that they come across, if, they have a separation between themselves and the world that they're in and the world that exists inside of there. But I think there are many people that do not have the ability to separate the two things, and they just keep consuming more and more, and they go down a bad path as a result, beginning to believe that, for example, political propaganda is an accurate representation of reality, and that um, normal people with their own feelings, their own lives, their own experiences that you would otherwise empathize with if you had met in person, are now something akin to the enemy. Um, the internet does a very good job at disseminating, at spreading this sort of propaganda. Uh, but at the end of the day, um, that's all it is. It's propaganda. And the higher level of skepticism that we have of this stuff that's out there, I think the better we're going to do in the world. Because all of the people that I've met from my generation who are always on and who believe absolutely everything that they're seeing, that are just constantly angry, the algorithm is just showing them stuff that makes them constantly angry. Um, all of those people have severe mental problems. They're not doing well. It's not going well for them. Those people would literally be doing better if they spent all day playing a video game, which is obviously not something I advocate for on this channel. I talk about self-help a lot. I talk about, having goals and things like this. But 100%, the person that is sitting around playing video games 16 hours a day is doing way better than somebody who is just in a TikTok information quote unquote hellscape that is distorting their perception of reality and making them angry all day. Which is the situation a lot of these people that grew up with the tablets and such are in, right? They are not skeptical. They're not critical of what they're seeing, and they completely immerse themselves in that world, and it has disastrous consequences on their ability to empathize with the people around them, the normal people that exist in the everyday world who have thoughts and feelings and challenges and struggles just like anybody else. Um, it's concerning, to say the least. It's concerning, but um, with this video, I'd like to to point that out, to remind people, to provide a healthy reminder that we ought to be a lot more skeptical of the things that appear on the internet and the things that appear in general. Forget about the internet. Be skeptical of the things that appear in books, the things that appear in print media, in mass media. Be skeptical of everything. And I'm not talking about, the Joe Rogan kind of skepticism, like oh, be skeptical of it because an expert said it or something like that. Have a healthy degree of skepticism. Look into it if you can. try to learn about it, become more educated. But but when I say skepticism, I'm talking about real skepticism, like empirically reviewing information, um, having a methodology to separate the wheat from the chaff, to figure out what is fact and what is fiction. That's what we need to be doing.